Yo, what's going on, everybody? This is Dylan Talk Sports. My name is Dylan. In this video, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be discussing the Michigan State versus Ohio State game where Ohio State defeated Michigan State 38-3. We've been saying for a couple weeks Ohio State, they need to put together a complete game. They need to go out there and show that they can control a team from wire to wire, pretty much put a full-on domination, especially with their offense, because their offense has been so up and down this year. Even in the beginning stages of the year, even when they played the bad teams, they looked like they were just very inconsistent. In this game, finally, they were able to put together a wire-to-wire offense was dominant. They even got a chance to actually pull their starters in the fourth quarter. We haven't seen that all season. Even going into the fourth quarter, even when they were playing the bad teams earlier on in the season, they still had their starters out there the entire game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of go through and talk about the game, kind of talk about the highs, the lows, things that went wrong, things that went right for Ohio State. Not really many things went wrong, but I also want to talk about Kyle McCord. I want to talk about Marvin Harrison Jr. because that man, if he doesn't get the Heisman at the end of the season, it better go to either Michael Penix Jr. or Bo Nix. Marvin Harrison Jr. is a Heisman finalist, 100%. And we'll kind of go into the defense a little bit, kind of discuss them, because there was some moments in the first half where they looked like they were going to break, but I've been saying it all season. They are a bend but don't break defense, and they showed that. So without further ado, if you're going to enjoy, make sure you do drop a like. And without further ado, let's get into it. So as you can see, like we said, 38-3. Ohio State, they put together a wire-to-wire performance. I'll kind of scroll down here. You can see the whole scoring separate. First quarter, they moved the ball right down the field. Marvin Harrison Jr., it was a sneaky play. I didn't even see him take the ball. It looked like he kind of handed off to Trayvon Henderson, but then he did a little rewind, gave it to Marvin Harrison Jr. He took it all the way around, and I think he had Julian Fleming and Xavier Johnson out there helping block. He got the easy touchdown. And when I saw that, I was like, wait a minute. Marvin Harrison Jr. is taking a jet sweep and an end around? Yes, he is. Then as the game went on, Michigan State got the ball back, and I'm thinking, okay, this is where we show, can we be a good defense? Michigan State moves the ball right down the field. And what are they doing? They're running the ball. Luckily enough, they got that to the field. I think it was like the 38-yard line. They tried to attempt a field goal. They missed the field goal. It was a really long field goal. So when they missed the field goal, we got the ball back. We started moving the ball down the field. And Kyle McCord, everybody's talking about Marvin Harrison Jr.'s catch. Great catch. Touchdown. He deserved that catch. But the throw by Kyle McCord, people aren't giving him the credit. The way how he had to put enough air onto that ball and then put it in the perfect spot for Marvin Harrison Jr. to run underneath it and just be able to catch it right inside the boundary. And it was also just a little bit further away where the corner couldn't reach his arm over and swat it. Perfect throw. And then to top off the performance from Marvin Harrison Jr., we'll talk about him also a little bit. That little slant route, it looked like it was going to be a throw or probably like a run, but they did like the little kind of fake handoff. Marvin Harrison Jr. did like a little wiggle, went on the inside. It looked like it was basically just a slant route, but he had added that little wiggle to get that corner to go on the outside. Marvin Harrison Jr. had the easy inside slant, touchdown, 3 tutties for the man. As the game went on, it looked like they were kind of slowing down. They got the running touchdown for Trayvon Henderson, and they also had the score for Cade Stover. The throw to Cade Stover at the end of the second half, or end of the first half, that throw, I at first was thinking, why didn't we go to Marvin Harrison Jr. to the back corner? But when I saw the throw, it's like as he threw the ball to Cade Stover, that safety immediately lingered over to Marvin Harrison Jr. So if he would have thrown it there, would have been a pick. And I think in that moment, that safety lingering to Marvin Harrison Jr. immediately opened up for the back shoulder to Cade Stover, and it was a great throw by Kyle. In the second half, I think Ohio State, they pretty much just was like looking at the score saying, 35-3, let's just cruise out of here. Let's just take all the starters out, and they did. They pretty much took Marvin Harrison Jr. out. They took Trayvon Henderson out. They took a couple of the offensive linemen out, I think, in the third quarter. Some of the defensive players also came out, and in the fourth quarter, that's where Kyle came out, and a lot of the receivers pretty much all were out, and they were just kind of cruising. So all in all, looking at the entirety of the team, it was a complete game. Now, I realize you're talking about a complete game against Michigan State. Michigan State's not doing that good this year. I mean, they're 3-7. They already fired their head coach earlier on the year, Mel Tucker. We're not going to get into that. But any team you beat, it don't matter, I think, who you beat. Because you could look at Alabama, Georgia, Michigan. If one of those teams put up a complete game, a 45-0, a 42-3, a 45-6 kind of game, you'd be looking at them and be like, man, they're a complete team. They beat the shit out of that team. But Ohio State does it, and it's like, well, it was Michigan State. First up, let's kind of talk about Ohio State's defense. One of the things that we've always been talking about the defense this entire year is, can they stop the run? And I'm not going to lie, they did not. I realize they only let up 94 yards, but think about it. You let up 94 yards to Michigan State. What the fuck are you going to do when Michigan comes in, or you go up to play Michigan? And I think it was Carter here. He was just zipping through the line, whether it was inside zone or like a stretch toss around the end. There was a lot of the pulling guards, the tight ends sealing off the end, and they were just running. I mean, for 10, 20, 30, I think they had a 25-yard run at one point. Yeah, right here, 27 yards. He was just gashing us. Now, when it comes to passing, we held them to only 88 total yards. Throwing, I think our secondary is good. We actually were missing both our safeties, Ransom and whoever the other guy is. I'm blanking on the name. and then we were also missing Tyman Eichenberg in our middle linebacker. So having those guys not out there kind of hurt us a little bit in the back end. But I think even without them, I think Ryan Day's mindset was, we're playing Michigan State. We don't need you guys to beat Michigan State. We need you guys at the end of the year. Same thing with next week. I think going against Minnesota, we're going to kind of look at the guys who are kind of hurt, injured right now, and it's going to come down to how hurt are you? If you are below 50%, you are not playing. We need you for Michigan. If you are at least above 50%, we'll see how you're feeling out there during the warm-ups. But all in all, when it comes to the defense, I give them a solid 9 out of 10. Only reason I'm giving a 9 out of 10 because, like I said, we allowed Michigan State to run the ball. And they had, I think, 2 opportunities to kick a field goal. One they made, another one they missed. You're playing Michigan State, like I said. Michigan played against Michigan State and held them to 0 points in Michigan State Stadium. Let's go over to Ohio State's offense and let's talk about really quickly our running game. The run game was pretty good. Trevor Henderson, he didn't really have to do too much, I don't think, because, like I said, you're playing Michigan State. You don't got to do much. But every opportunity he did get a chance to get the ball, 13 carries, 63 yards, about 5 yards a carry. He did what he needed to do. He got the yards. He got the yak. Anytime he touched the ball and you thought he was going to be tackled for a negative 1 yard loss, he could turn that into a 3-4 yard gain. Chip Trayanum did his average yards. He can come in there at any time, give you about 5 yard carry. Xavier Johnson, he was taking a lot of like little. Kyle McCORD would have like Xavier Johnson on his hip and he could just like hand it off and he'd wrap around and go for about like 8 or 10 yards at random points in the game. And then I already talked about Marvin Harrison Jr.'s end around that he took in for the touchdown. But 177 yards on the ground is pretty good. If Ohio State's going to have any chance going forward against the teams, like I said, the Michigan at the end of the year, and then if they were to the playoffs, any team in there, they're going to need to produce at least 200 yards rushing, I think. Now let's get on to Kyle McCORD. Kyle McCORD played a perfect game, I think. Now, was there some throws that he probably wants back? Yes. He 24-31. He wants probably about 7 of those throws back. A few of them were just dirt balls. But there was a touchdown that he had to Marvin Harrison Jr. that could have given Marvin Harrison Jr. his 4th touchdown. It was a throw that it looked like Michigan State was sending about 7 or 8 guys, a full all-out blitz. And he had Marvin Harrison Jr. Marvin Harrison Jr. beat his DB. If he would have thrown about maybe like about like another 2 yards out in front of Marvin Harrison Jr., that would have been a touchdown. But instead, with the pressure coming into his face, he kind of had to throw off his back foot. He underthrew the ball a little bit, and Marvin Harrison Jr. had to kind of come back for the ball, allowed the DB to make up for time, was able to just barely jump in front of the ball, got his shoulder up in it, knocked the ball away. And there was another throw, once again, to Marvin Harrison Jr. It was a throw, I believe you can kind of see the stat right there, 57 yards that Marvin Harrison Jr. caught a ball for. It was a deep post down the field. If Kyle could have put about maybe 5 more yards on this throw, Harrison Jr. would have caught it, took it the whole way to the end zone. Instead, he had to kind of slow down his run, track it, catch it, and then he had to kind of turn, get the DB to run past him. But then whenever he got his feet under him, the safety was there to then clean up the tackle. And once again, with those kind of throws, you need to put those balls out there. Let your receiver go get them. And the announcers, they were saying, great throw, great throw. I do think it was a great throw. But it's one of those moments where another 2 to 3, maybe even 5 yards out in front of the receiver, let him go get it, and he's taking it to the house. They did say this was a career high for him, 335 yards, the 3 touchdowns. He had a 98.1 QBR, really good. Like I said, he played great. Can this momentum now, because we've been saying all season long, he started off slow in the beginning of the year. He's slowly kind of getting a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And I've said it before with kind of quarterbacks that are new. I think what Ryan Day has started out in the beginning of the year, it's like, think of it like a playbook. You have 100% of a playbook. He started him out at the beginning of the year with like 10%. Every week, he's slowly giving him more. I think at this point in the season, he's probably got Kyle McCORD about 75% of the playbook giving to him. He's going to give him a little bit more next week, because then when that Michigan game comes, everybody's been saying it. This team is set for a national championship and a Big Ten title game, going to playoffs, beating Michigan. It just comes down to Kyle McCORD. Do I think Kyle McCORD has shown his growth and some development over the season? I do. I'm just going to need to see more. And then the last thing we're going to talk about is the man, the myth, the legend, the Heisman candidate, the man that's going to probably go #1 overall pick in the draft if a team doesn't need a quarterback at #1, Marvin Harrison Jr. It seems like every time this man sees Michigan State players, he goes nuts. 7 catches, 149 yards, averages about 21 yards a catch, 2 touchdowns, had the end around touchdown, so that's 3 touchdowns. I said it when the man had his second touchdown, that back of the end zone catch. I was like, oh shit, this man's going for the Heisman. And whenever he caught that slant touchdown, I was thinking to myself, oh my God, this man saw the Heisman odds, and he said, you're putting me at 6th? And some of them were like 7th and 8th? Fuck that. It seemed like, especially in this game, a lot of times we always talk about 3rd down. Maybe it's a 3rd and long, 3rd and goal. Who are you going to go to? You always need to go to your best player. And this was finally the time where they went to their best player. There was a moment earlier on in the game, I think it was like second quarter, maybe even third quarter. They had, I think, the second down. They threw it to Marvin Harrison Jr. on like a bubble. He dropped the ball. It was Marvin Harrison Jr. looked like he was sad that he dropped that ball. And what do? Third down, come right back to Marvin Harrison Jr. on a slant route. He catches it, gets the first down. It's one of those things where it's like, just because he dropped the ball or he didn't do something right one time, don't go away from him. And I think a lot of times with Harrison Jr., when he's doing well, it helps the other guys kind of get open. I mean, look at this. You had how many guys here that were able to get productive because Marvin Harrison Jr. was getting double teamed, triple teamed, quadruple teamed. I mean, when you can get 8 different guys the ball across a course of a game, that's huge. I'm going to say this. If I had a vote right now, do I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to win the Heisman? It's a tough ask because, I mean, if you look at the past of what Heisman receivers stats have been like, they've been around what Marvin Harrison Jr. is at right now. The thing is, look at some of the stats around the league. I think he's only like 9th in the entire FBS in receiving yards. He's maybe like 6th, 7th in passing or receiving touchdowns. So it's like you have other receivers in the league that have better stats than him. And it's not like, oh, well, they play in the God knows what conference. No, some of them do play in like the SEC and the Big Ten as well. So it's going to be kind of hard to say Marvin Harrison Jr. is the best player in college when there's other receivers that have better stats than him. What I will say is the productive level of what he can do for this team, and the fact that when we think of a Heisman, when the Heisman player is not on your team, where does your team go? That's why I think a lot of teams are kind of looking at like the way the season has went and who should be the Heisman vote or player. Think of it this way. Earlier on the year, we said maybe Quinn Ewers. We took away Quinn Ewers from the team. Texas is still looking pretty good. We take away Dylan Gabriel from Oklahoma. I still think they're going to be a pretty good team. But when you look at some of the candidates, like I've already said, the Bo Nix, the Michael Penix Jr., the Marvin Harrison Jr., you take those players away from the team, they might not look the same. My biggest argument for why Marvin Harrison Jr. is probably a best player in college football, think about last season when we played Georgia. When we had Marvin Harrison Jr., we were tearing up Georgia's ass. The second he went off the field, we couldn't throw the ball for shit. I'm going to wrap it up with this. Let's talk about some injuries. Like I said earlier, I think everybody needs to get healthy this week. It's senior week this week. We're going to be playing Minnesota at home. So I think this week, everybody just needs to get healthy. The players who we desperately need to have out there, if they are at least somewhat 50% above when it comes to their health status, try and get them out there. If they're below that, let them rest. And that goes for even like the safeties. If the safeties think that they're still not good to go next week, don't play them. Save them for Michigan. But other than that, that's all I got to discuss for today's video. Hopefully you guys did go to enjoy. If you did go to enjoy today's video, make sure you do drop a like. It's very much appreciated if you do so. If you wanted to watch the entirety of today's video, thank you very much, and you had a different opinion on kind of how the game went, if you're a Ohio State fan, or maybe a Michigan State fan. I know I didn't really talk about Michigan State that much, but I mean, look at the stats. What was there to talk about? But like I said, if you have a different opinion on kind of how the game went, or you maybe I missed a detail of something you wanted me to kind of go over, and you want to leave it down in the comment section down below, feel free to do so. I'll be more than welcome to talk about it with you. If you're a fan of the content that I am posting here, and maybe you're a Ohio State fan, I upload Ohio State videos, reacting to the games all the time, Ohio State news. If you're a fan of that type of stuff and you want to go ahead and hit that big red subscribe button, feel free to do so. And do not forget to hit that little notification bell to be notified the second I post. But without further ado, this has been Donald Talk Sports. Have a great day. Peace.